Good afternoon. Is that resounding and does that sound familiar? All right. Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to a kind of a midpoint in the How To Festival, which has been beamed to you consistently and through the comments, which I think have exceeded perhaps 5,000. I think we're on the right track. So we have a good show for you today. And the reason why it is going to be good is it's not one brand, it's not two, it's not three, it's not four, it's not five, it's all six brands which are going to be presented as key takeaways and highlights for you. So with that, let me just begin our presentation today. Here we go. Welcome to this exclusive Omnibus show, which has key takeaways from, as I mentioned, as many as 6 leader brands, talking to you and giving you in a nutshell all the things you want to know about those categories. And who is behind this? For those who don't know us, which I think is very rare amongst you, my friends, but just in case, we are the How To Festival 2.0 in its second year, and it has been brought to you by LOCATOR. LOCATOR, where we are celebrating our silver jubilee year, the 25th year of existence, and presented by LIC, the brand Jo Har Pal Aapke Saath, as they like to say. I'd also like to welcome students who may not have been in some of the previous shows or not at all to this one. And this is our typical welcome to students from the Amity School. Look at the gorgeous campuses. Feast your eyes, students. Feel nostalgic. You're going to go back soon. What with vaccination having started in full cry and things abating quite a bit, I'm sure you will be hitting the campus the day they open it for you. Amity School of Planning, Bharati Vidyapeeth, Birla Institute, BMS College, Chandigarh College of Architecture, IES College in Mumbai, ITM University, Jamia Millia, School of Planning and Architecture, JNFAU in Hyderabad, SCET from Surat, Malviya National Institute of Technology, NIT Raipur, you're going to be seeing more about them today, Rachna Sunset from Bombay, Rizvi College, RV College, Bengaluru, Siangat College, Sir JJ College of Architecture, Shushant, Thakur, who also are going to be featured on our show today, and the Vaishnavi School of Planning and Architecture and Planning in Hyderabad. What a lineup, top 20 colleges and institutes of architecture in the country. We are proud to host the How To Festival 2.0 exclusively for you. And when I say we, I mean LOCATOR, who, as you can see, we produced a printed volume edition, and that was from the year 1995 for 20 years, right up to 2015, continuously without a break, and through all the ups and downs, and mostly ups. And we served the industry. 5,000 architect firms received annually the LOCATOR volume free of cost, because that is what is LOCATOR's mission, which is to be a knowledge partner to architect and designer professionals. And then with changing times, from 2015, we moved on to being an online portal, which you will discover the following data: 187 product categories, 1,800 plus products, technical specs. That's information you probably find it useful in the middle of the night when you sit down to draft your designs. Contact details, your project, you're headquartered in a city, but your project is in some other city, and you don't want the contractor to come back and say, "Saab, ye maal udhar nahi mil raha hai." You can direct him, thanks to LOCATOR, as to where you can get that particular product, and much, much more. Top 100 architects profiles, free newsletter on green technologies, so much more. Why don't you go to locatorindia.com and check it out for yourself. Right. What else has LOCATOR been doing in the last 25 years? We have strengthened our presence in this whole building products, building materials industry by launching the Expert's Choice, which was a trust mark, but uniquely ranked by leading architects and designers. And that's why the name, the Expert's Choice. And what you know, as and when you start practicing, students, we will be happy to give you all an opportunity to vote as well as our expert users. There's something which I'd like to share with you right after this. And coming up is a video. And the video has got some beautiful architectural marvels. When we launched the Expert's Choice, we also put out a coffee table book, which is called Selections, Architectural Marvels Seen Through the Eyes of Experts. So we had 24 architects recommending 24 beautiful pieces of architecture which they liked from around the world, and not their own works, obviously. So let's take a look at a few of them, and with passing time, we'll show you some of the other videos as well. I guess the sound share also needs to be done. Let's go back. Right. Wasn't that absolutely wonderful? We have many, many more architectural marvels captured on video for you, which we will show you in the future shows. This one featured the falling water. Nobody needs any introduction. The Aman Hotel at Tokyo, Louis Vuitton, the headquarters, and the Shroud in London. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, here's a reminder, students, a quick reminder of the benefits that are there for you. As you know, all of you who've been regular on the show will receive the certificate of participation, and that entitles you to be on a campus hunt. We are going to be sharing details of this in a couple of weeks, and you would be understanding how you're going to be meeting with architect firms if you're looking to intern or have a placement with them. You will also be seeing archive in a couple of weeks, which is all the technical information which was presented in the last 2 months in January and February, which is going to be encapsulated today as a key takeaway, would also be put as PDF documents, videos, detailed technical drawings, everything that you want on the archive. And finally, you always enter quizzes and win prizes, and that you've been doing in plenty up till now, which is why I say congrats winners. We have a customary band all set and ready to play the song, the congratulatory tune for you. Yes, and that was for all the previous winners and the winners of the last episode number 6, which, as you know, was on IoT, and it was presented by Legrand, and the quiz was very quizzical, if I may. And the winners of the episode number 6 were Mayank Maru of Vaishnavi School, P. Vaishnavi of the School of Architecture and Planning, GNAFAU, Batul Hussain, who's done well for herself many times from GNAFAU, and Saurabh Chaudhary from Amity School, a newbie winner. And after that, we have the Q&A. These were the brightest questions asked of the presenters, and that was Shashi Ranjan Kumar, Omkar Shinde from Siahat College. Shashi was from BIT Mesra, and Sanya Chokshi, welcome as a newbie winner. The three of you are all new to the show. Sarvajanik College of Engineering and Technology, SCET, Surat, and Pujita Chalamala Sethi from Vaishnavi School of Planning and Architecture. Yes, the Internet of Things got you all piqued, and you asked some really nice questions. We also had terrific engagement on the show, and what you see on screen is that lovely community of 800 plus that we have created. And those who were engaged the most and in the most vibrant way on the 6th episode were Pratyaksha Chauhan of BIT, Siddhi Sangai of Bharati Vidyapeeth, Aniket Sahu from CCA, and Avneet Kaur also from CCA, Chandigarh College of Architecture. Right, one more celebratory drum roll. Lovely friends who participated and won consistently and or just had the pleasure of being on the show. Today, great pleasure in welcoming our first college of the day, which is National Institute of Technology, Raipur. The standard of architecture is one of the most important indicators of the level of civilization of any society. And this is what NIT Raipur believes in. The endeavor of the department, therefore, is to produce architects who would be able to consciously design spaces and built forms that would not only solve the problems of built environments today, but also shape it for future generations. Wonderful, wonderful sentiment. The Department of Agriculture was set up in the year 1984, and they offer a degree undergraduate program, Bachelor in Architecture. Fabulous. Let's take a look at NIT Raipur. On the show, we are very pleased to welcome both Professor Debashis Sanyal, the past HOD, and Dr. Swasti Sthapak, the present and the current HOD. And here are a few things that you would love to know about Professor Sanyal. As I mentioned, he's a past HOD at NIT, the Department of Architecture. His qualifications, B.Arch from Bhopal, M.Arch from Nagpur, and PhD in 2020 from Nagpur University. Of the many awards that are there listed, the one which I picked up is to mention Justice Mahapatra Award for Research, which was instituted by Rotary Club of Raipur Central in 1995. We are also extremely pleased to have Dr. Swasti Sthapak, who is the current HOD, and Dr. Sthapak is a B.Arch, AITPI, and has also done her PhD. Her areas of interest are architecture, climatology, and environmental planning. And she has a wonderful publication to her credit, and this is the title, Excellence Through Total Quality Management, Changing Paradigms in Professional Education. We are so pleased to have the two of you on a show. Let's hear a few words first from Professor Sanyal.
Festival really helped the students of architecture because different type of product manufacturers come at one place and give their presentation to the benefit of the budding architects in the Department of Architecture.
Thank you, Professor Sanyal. And ma'am?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate LOCATOR on your 25th anniversary. NIT Raipur had been part of How To Festival 2019, and I am happy that we are continuing this year too. LOCATOR provides a platform to the students to know about the state of art, material and technology, which I think is a must for a student to be a good architect. And I'm very happy that you are continuing in this pandemic period too. The information and knowledge is being percolating to the students. I wish the students a very good learning in today's program.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
This is coming to the college, which is our celebratory salver, celebrating a silver jubilee year. Ma'am, kindly receive it when it is sent across from Bombay. So thank you, Dr. Ms. Sthapak and Professor Mr. Sanyal. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your kind words of encouragement. Let's take a look at our second featured college of today, which is the Thakur School of Architecture and Planning. Thakur School was established in the year 2014 with the intention of providing, quote, state-of-the-art architectural education, unquote, to young budding aspirant architects that will be coherent with the overall sustainable developments both of the state and of the country. It was set up with a firm conviction that the institute will mitigate the brain drain of aspirants of architecture in Maharashtra. What a lovely, laudable thought. And let's take a look at this college. Good reasons why one should be studying at the Thakur School of Architecture and Planning, and the one who is helming the architectural college is Principal Dheeraj Salotra. Welcome, Dear Principal, thank you for being on our show. He has graduated in architecture in the year 1996 and has practiced as a professional architect. Uh, Principal Salotra has around 2 decades of teaching experience and is heading the prestigious Thakur School, as you know, as the principal. He has masters in arts. He also has a master's in architecture. And he has presented on sustainability and humanizing agenda in several national and international conferences and seminars. Let's hear it from Principal Dheeraj Salotra.
A warm welcome to all the students from Thakur School of Architecture and Planning. It is with immense pleasure that we welcome all the students who have enrolled onto the LOCATOR 2 series. It's a great platform of exchange, and we wish you the best to gain best of both the worlds, that is institution as well as industry.
A short address, but extremely meaningful. Thank you. This salver is coming your way, and we hope it has pride of place in your collection, in your room, Principal. Thank you, Principal Salotra. This is also from all your wonderful students who adore the college, and we have, I believe, in Abhay, one of our most active engagers as a graduate from your college. So with that, I think it is time, yes, to move on to the next part, and the one which is extremely interestingly laid out today, which is key takeaways from 6 brands till date. And to take you through this journey, I'm also going to invite on the show, as in technically assisted by my team at LOCATOR, and Arush, over to you. Right. Hands up, and we'd like to know more things about Fenesta. And for that, let's welcome back Mr. YP Singh onto the show. And he is a wonderful teacher. Let's start the key highlights from Fenesta. Arush, we may need to share sound. So I don't know how many of you current students on the show today are involved with seeing Fenesta's things again, but I'm sure it will be a good aid memoir of what you saw 8 weeks ago.
What are the issues you normally face across them? You might see some old buildings with wooden windows, which have a problem of moisture, peel off. If there are steel and aluminum windows, you have a problem of rusting. You get problem of termites. Windows has a problem of burglary as well, if it is not strong enough. And today, people talk about windows from the perspective of architecture, blending it, putting it in unique preposition. And you will also see these windows vary from one region to the another region, from one country to the other country, depending upon the requirements of the environment. And why windows are used? The first and foremost thing is the natural light, of course. But after that, it also brings in fresh air. Some aesthetics aspects are looked into windows. And lately, in the last decade, the windows have started looking at other aspects like energy conservation, sound insulation, and low maintenance. Now, when we talk about formulation of UPVC, there are different types of ingredients which are mixed with PVC to get those properties. And some of them are like heat stabilizer, UV stabilizer, impact modifier, inorganic fillers, and many other ingredients. It is like, to give an analogy of this PVC, it is like creating a recipe. Recipe, like you can create anything by changing the ingredients and the quantity out of it. And it is also important having the right quantity of these ingredients. If you do not have that, probably you will not get the properties which you desire. In this entire formulation, the only thing which I would like to hide and relevant for this session is the UV stabilizer. All polymers are degradable, especially when it is exposed to UV lights. And to prevent that degradation, in UPVC, we use titanium dioxide. We'll come to the usage of titanium dioxide later also in the session, how it actually enhances the property of a polymer, and it gives a life which can be as good as 30 to 40 years or even 50 years without degrading. So when you use UPVC as a fenestration material, what are the advantages you see in that? So the first one we talk about being a multi-chamber, you get a better U value. What is U value? It is actually, to put it in simple words, is for thermal insulation. How do you get a thermal insulation? Let me explain you multi-chamber system. So if you see this section, which is of UPVC profile, you can see there are chambers inside, and this is called multi-chamber. You can have one chamber like this, or you can have multi-chamber on the other side. Now, it is like when you have more chambers, you tend to actually have lower U value and therefore better thermal insulation. You have double sealing, and this is the design criteria. All the frames and sashes are designed in such a way that you get two sealings, one inside and one outside, with a gasket. Predominantly, you will find that the wooden systems do not have that sealing criteria right now. The corners are welded joints, unlike the wood, which has a finger joinery, or the aluminum, which is mechanical joinery, or a steel, which is welded. PVC or polymers can be thermally fused. It can be heated and then fused together. So there are no leakages through the corners. The design of windows are made with multi-point locking, which means when you close the door or window, it's not one-point locking. And across the height of the product, the locking happens. You can have different types of glazing, means different thicknesses of glass can be used. It can be single, it could be double, and it could be triple. Why multiple glasses? To have better insulation characteristics again. It is weather resistant as well. As I was talking about titanium, it does not fade. That means you don't need to paint this after every 2 or 3 years, like what happens in wood, or in steel where you do a anti-rust or painting. So it doesn't require any painting. It remains like that forever almost. And when we talk about the strength, PVC doesn't have that strength as good as aluminium, but it has a reinforced section, which is steel with a zinc coating. And these are inside the chambers. Therefore, the strength what you get in PVC window is of steel. PVC is just a coating, which has a better UV resistance. It does not rot, it does not fade away, and remains like that forever. When we talk about framing materials, we have options of wood, non-thermal break material, thermal break materials, and UPVC with multiple chambers, 3 chambers, 6 chambers, 4 chambers with foam. And these have been evolved over a period of time, considering the U value of the material. Lower the U value, better is the insulation. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you look at wood, which is at 2.3, you get thermal break material in aluminum at 2.3, and you get 3 chamber close to 2.7. Of course, you can go lower U values by adding chambers or adding foam, but that's what you are aiming at. In Europe, particularly where they are looking for very high insulations, they go for 6 to 7 chambers as well. We'll talk about some of these innovations at Fenesta. The first one is we have a special rain track and sill arrangement to prevent water seepage through slider systems.
Fenesta windows come with both watertight sealing and special monsoon-proof innovation. For heavy shower areas, Fenesta offers sliding windows with a special rain trap, dam-like system, which locks out the rains completely and prevents it from seeping indoors. Whereas for light shower areas, a sill arrangement is recommended, which resists air pressure and makes the rainwater to flow outwards without staining the walls.
So as we have designed the product and we have manufactured it, this is the most critical aspect because this is done at field with less of supervision, but with trained set of skills. If the installation is not correct, irrespective how good the design is or how good you have manufactured, the windows will not perform. And therefore, due care in the installation process has to be taken. Fenesta has been doing its installations from day one. And the main reason is that the installation actually delivers the performance of the product. Let's have a look at this.
The other is installation. 85% of all window-related problems spring from poor installation. At Fenesta, dedicated teams of trained professionals coordinate a complete installation process. Fenesta removes a huge responsibility from your overburdened shoulders by offering a complete, customized solution. No order is too large, no deadline too tight. Just ask the people who use Fenesta.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. And this is a thanks, abbreviated thanks. You had made a wonderful 40-minute presentation in the entire show, but I'm certain the production team has done a wonderful job of bringing out distillate and the excerpts. Students, this is what I mean, that the team at HTF, that is the How To Festival, has been working on your behalf, notwithstanding the fact that we had virtually no resources because of COVID. But you never say die, and that's the way it's always been with LOCATOR all these 25 years. And I'm very proud to head a team which believes in delivering on time and quality every time. I think with these few words, let's, Arush, maybe we could go back to you and you could take us through key takeaways on Kytek composite piping systems. Yeah, hands up for that. With the ever-increasing awareness for the importance of water and energy conservation, characteristics of the piping material used in modern water distribution have become very important. It's not only, that is not the reason why piping is important. It is believed that World War III is going to be fought on water. All those who haven't followed it, Google and you'll realize the extent to which it's going to become a rare and a scarce resource, and wars can be fought on it. As I'm fond of saying, God forbid, we don't want another war. We've had enough problems already. But water is a scarce resource. that dramatic point besides you and I and everyone has a mission to make sure we leave something for our future generations. And there are a lot of ways that traditionally water pipes or pipes are used for transport of water. Namely, three. There's GI, copper, plastic, and a few others. Mostly is GI. GI is the product of choice, and this is the one which you'll probably find in your homes and you'd use in your university, in your college, virtually everywhere. That's because it is the one pipe which has been made available for the longest time all over the country. Copper is another option which used to be used in the Baba Adam days, in the British days, because it was freely available, it was less expensive. Today it's prohibitively expensive. It's a great product to use for piping, but then it's simply not affordable in projects. And there is plastic, which is very affordable, but as with anything, it has its major disadvantages of being brittle and prone to breaking, cracks, breakages, and all kinds of other problems such as not being able to take hot water applications easily, and so on. All of these main products which have been used have got limitations because GI pipes tend to corrode. GI pipes come in fixed lengths of a few meters. They have to be cut to size, they have to be measured, they have to be threaded, they have to be wound, the angles, the joints have to be put together. It's labor intensive, and at the end of the day, they're prone to leakages from those very joints which have been used by putting tape or sutli. Remember how plumbers do their work with white cement and so on and so forth. And they have all got limitations. So that's why I think you need to know about this revolutionary system that combines the features of both plastic and metal, the composite piping system from Kytek. What is the concept? Here you see 5 layers. There's an outer PE layer, there's an inside PE, PE being polyethylene, and there's in between, there's an aluminum layer. And there are 2 more layers between the outer PE and the middle aluminum. There's an adhesive layer, and between the middle aluminum and the inner PE, there's another adhesive layer. So Kytek is an aluminum polyethylene composite that combines the best features of both materials to form a pipe that is light, strong, and one that does not support corrosion. It is potable water certified. Potable water is drinking water. We all know that we all over the country, you're either finding people with mineral water, so-called mineral, which is basically treated, filtered water, bottles in their hands, or you got AquaGuard kind of water purification systems at home and even in institutions. Why is that so? The reason is very simple. The groundwater is not so contaminated, even if it is from the lake, from the rivers, it gets treated in a plant, but it's during the transport of that from the pumping station to the end delivery point, which could be anything. It could be coming into a building and going up to very many flats, there is contamination possible. How does this happen? When pipes are flowing, you'll normally find sewage pipes and water drinking pipes are all laid together in the same trenches. This is how cities were constructed. So when there's a leak from one or the other, because of those joints that I mentioned to you earlier, because of the corrosion of those joints, because over a period of time it weakens, that dirty water, sewage water goes in, and which is why at the delivery point, you're not advised to drink water off the tap. Go to all international countries which are advanced and which have got these kind of seal systems, and they drink water off the tap because it isn't contaminated. Kytek pipes use PE that is food grade certified and is hence suitable for water supply to and inside the building. So if you have applications in the future like hotels, hospitals, colleges, etc., this danger is real, and that is where one needs to be careful to ensure that there is no contamination of drinking water, which can be avoided if you use Kytek composite water piping systems. Let's talk about handling. Easy handling. Simply roll the Kytek pipe down the trench and it stays where it's laid, unlike polyethylene. You can make goosenecks bends like you see on the picture, the beautiful duck. and you can just lay it and keeps its shape. Kytek comes conveniently packaged in long coils, so you can say goodbye to hassles of just 6 meter lengths, which need to be cut, and you also reduce the wastage. So, more or less concluding, Kytek composite pipes combine the best features of metal and plastics and satisfies the requirements of most modern plumbing systems. There's a wide range of municipal DZR brass fittings and engineering plastic composite fittings, which are available to connect Kytek water service pipes. Let me show you something interesting. This is a range of fittings which have been developed indigenously, vocal for local. It has been made by Kytek, and it is including composite, brass, and other metals, O-rings and whatnot. None of this is important to you. Suffice it for you to know that unlike the normal metal GI pipe, where we talked about cutting lengths, there being some wastage, threading after measuring the lengths to which it has to be taken, then fitting the elbows and so on and so forth. Kytek composite piping systems are literally fitted. Because of these fittings, they are airlocked. They don't need adhesive, they don't need rope, they don't need threading, they don't need sutli, they need nothing. They are snap shut, and that entire project is tested with compressed air before water is allowed to flow through the system. And that is how you can say you can fit it and forget it for life. Talking about applications, Kytek composite piping systems have got a variety of applications. They're coming up on the screen. Plumbing is the major, which is where you would also be involved. But every time you work on a unique project, you're going to need other kind of solutions, like for diesel, petrol, kerosene handling, whenever you're doing a petrol pump design or transport of this. Air conditioning, this is happening all the time, all over the country. Air conditioning, where you need insulated pipes, and Kytek comes in handy there. Fuel oil lines, solar heating, cable conduits, submersible piping system, compressed air systems, jet pump piping, natural gas distribution, refrigerant systems, food and chemical processing, radiator central heating, vacuum systems, underflow heating, insecticides spraying. Yes, I have to just thank the team at Kytek, since I was also their poster boy talking about the product. But I have two teams. I have so many teams. I have this team of students on How to Festival. I have this team of people behind the How to Festival. I have my brand partners as teams. Well, it's a wonderful life, right? So, Arush, are we ready to move it next to seeing some highlights from, say, Dr. Fixit? Yep. Hands up for Dr. Fixit, the waterproofing expert. Let's welcome Ms. Seema Samshetty and to the highlights.
It takes years of design and planning to construct a strong building. Unfortunately, not much has changed about waterproofing. Conventional methods like brick-bat coba and China mosaic are often considered sufficient, but weather can be unforgiving. Rapidly changing weather and temperatures throughout the day put a lot of stress on the building. This harsh weather adversely impacts the concrete structure and weakens the building. Water can be an extremely destructive force. It can slip through the tiniest cracks, cutting its way through every crevice that could be found percolating through the concrete and destroy everything in the path. And when it enters a house, it damages the ceiling, walls, floors, and the interiors. But it is possible to stop all this damage from happening.
So these are the waterproofing principles and the facts related to this. When we consider as a life cycle analysis of the structure, it has a principle called 82 principle. So this 2 stands for the 2% is the total waterproofing material cost of your total project cost. That much your requirement for the initial stage itself. But if we do not consider this at the initial stage, it leads to your 80% cost for the repairs of the project during the service or the during service span of building. And 18% are related to the other factors. Similarly, as a life cycle analysis, we should also have this as a failure analysis of the waterproofing systems. So it's also having a principle of 90-2 principle. This again, the 2% remains for your waterproofing system material selection, and the 90% is their application of these materials. So this is the one part is important as well as for your system material selection and their application, and this 8% for the other factors. So which gives you the consider total idea about this waterproofing practices, their principles and their life cycle and the cost analysis of the project itself. It all leads to the basement leakages and the low dampness problems inside the buildings. To protect the basement structures, so the proper waterproofing should be done at the design stage itself with the proper system selection. The first we should have to understand the what purpose we are going to use the basement. What is the grade of the basement usage? Are we going to use for the car parking or the storage or the plant rooms areas? Depending on this grade usages and the nearby your soil condition and the water table condition part, it has to be derived into 3 categories. One system is called as a type A barrier protection system. So in this waterproofing system, the material has to be applied either from the external or the internal side of the concrete mass. The second category is called as a structurally integral protection. This is nothing but to make your concrete waterproof. We are going to add this integral waterproofing compounds inside this at the time of making concrete. And the third category is this drained protection. So here we are going to provide as a drainage boards inside this your basement from the internal side, so that water will percolate over here and it is stored at this drainage board and will collect it from a sump at one location from our project site. So as per the defining your basement grade usage and the water table conditions, these 3 categories can be combined or the singly they can used onto the projects. Let's see about this podium waterproofing. As podium itself is a big subject, as we are going to use this as we are having various utilities over here as per as their associated problems. So we use the podium substrate where you are having the various loading part coming as due to this expansion and contraction, concrete slab gets crack formations. And these are having this another utilities like water bodies and the planter boxes. And during the planter boxes or the landscape, these plant roots are also coming in you also get penetrate inside this concrete mass. And also we use this as a hardscape for the car parking areas. So these are the utilities. So that's why to cover all these utility points, the system has to be adhered all these utilities at one go and their problems at initial stage itself. So to define as a system for this, for the hardscape, the waterproofing membrane has to be take care of all these good tensile properties, adhesion properties, and their elongation properties to take care of all these thermal stresses. This concrete membrane get covered with this protection screen and along with the control joints. And if you are providing the landscape or the planter box system, Then they are going to add this as a waterproofing membrane above the soil mass till to the soil mass, and with along this proper their positioning and the fixing of the features. With this as a drainage pipes, then the drain board, soil mass and the vegetation growth will come up. And this is an simple application process which starts from the surface cleaning. Then if they are having the crack repair, if they are having some cracks onto that, we have to repair the cracks. In the wall floor junctions, we have to provide the angle fillets. If we are having the various upstands and the pipe penetrations, then the water outlets, that has to be detailed properly at the time of application itself. And the application of your waterproofing membrane, either in the form of coating or the spray or the squeegee pad applications. Once the coating is, then we have to go for this ponding test to check this water is not leaking from any substrate or from the coating itself. And then the coating is going to cover it with this geotextile and with the concrete screed. And the concrete screed has to be laid in the form of slope towards the drain outlet. And this coming as to the green buildings and the sustainable buildings, the green ratings also we are having. So that to derive this, we need to do as a insulation along with the waterproofing systems. So that insulation, both the dual to occur this dual system of purposes, we should have to apply as a low energy conservation system. So to optimize this low energy conservation, we should have to understand the first of all the U value, R value of the buildings and the surroundings, and on the basis of that we are going to provide this puff formation or the foam formations to minimize the temperatures by 8 to
It takes
Well, thank you very much, Seema. Am I audio? Thank you very much, Seema. That was a succinct look at waterproofing. It is not an easy subject to condense into 20 minutes, and it's been more difficult to condense it further into some 6-7 minutes. Very well done. The production is a massive effort. It is not any one person. There's a whole equivalent of 30 people working behind the scenes. And we do require you students to send us your comments on what you like about the show. What are the things that you don't even like about it? That's all right. I mean, we're all grown-ups here. We can take a few slinging from your side. But frankly, I'd like to know what you like, what is it that you don't like, and what is it that you can suggest? Because we are not stopping here. It's going to go further. Right, Arush, I think that was very well done. Maybe you want to take it away for some highlights from general? What do you think? And of course, all the hands up to know about the basics of air conditioning. Sometimes basics are essential. And we have Mr. Chandrasekhar Satish coming up on screen. Welcome, Satish. And do tell us a little bit about the technicalities of air conditioning.
Hi, good afternoon, dear friends. I am Satish Chandrasekhar from Fujitsu General India Private Limited. I am the Assistant General Manager Marketing here. Fujitsu General India Private Limited is part of the global Fujitsu General Group. And I'm very happy to be here with all of you as part of the Silver Jubilee celebrations of LOCATOR India. I congratulate Amita and Ramesh for this wonderful achievement. And we are happy to be associated with the How To Festival 2.0. And I am here today to share with you some of the details about the basics of air conditioning from an architect's perspective. Coming to general air conditioners, we have both room air conditioners as well as commercial air conditioners. When we talk about room air conditioners, the most key features or the USPs, if we say about general air conditioners, is that it is designed for tropical application. We all know India is a tropical country where temperatures during the peak of summers can reach as high as 47, 48, 49 degrees also in places like interior Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa. All these places are extremely hot, and not all air conditioners can cope with this kind of heat. So that is why we have developed something known as cooling power for tropical application, which is basically nothing but we have designed air conditioners which can operate in ambient temperatures as high as 55 degrees. Even if the outside temperature is 55 degrees, the air conditioner will continue to work and give you perfect cooling. Whereas many other air conditioners which are not designed to withstand these kind of heat, in order to protect the air conditioner, will just cut off. It will stop working, but not so with general. So that's why we call it the extreme machine. Third type of air conditioner is called the VRF air conditioner, where there is a single indoor unit which is connected to multiple outdoor units of different types. You can have, like you're seeing on screen, there is a single large outdoor unit which is connected to a cassette. One can be connected to a cassette, one can be connected to a duct, one can be connected to a ceiling, one can be connected to a split air conditioner. This is the basic application of this kind of VRF system. VRF refrigerant flow, that is VRF. So, and the beauty is, even though you have multiple indoor air conditioners, each indoor unit can be operated at different temperatures. It is not that since it is connected to the same outdoor unit, everything has to be run at the same temperature. You can set different temperatures for the different indoor units, right? And this is ideal for large buildings, showrooms, malls, where there are large distances involved, because the distance between the indoor unit and the outdoor unit can be as high as 1,000 meters, the piping length. So that is the advantages of VRF air conditioners. Like I said before, there is this technology called inverter technology that is completely transforming the air conditioning industry. And the government, you may know about the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, that has also given impetus to this inverter technology because it results in energy saving. So every kilowatt saved is 1 kilowatt cost reduced. So there are certain benefits that inverter technology has. I'll get into the benefits and then I'll tell you how how those benefits are achieved. The main benefits are it gives faster cooling, energy saving, and comfortable and stable cooling, right? We all know that in a normal air conditioner, as normal split air conditioner, once you set a temperature, right, and then once it reaches the temperature, the compressor cuts off, and then once the temperature increases by about 1.5 degrees from the set temperature, the compressor will turn on again and again cooling restart. So it is kind of on, off, on, off. So that is the on-off system which we used to have all these years. Now what inverter technology has done is that initially when you switch on the air conditioner, it cools very fast, almost 50% more faster than a conventional air conditioner, which means that you will achieve the set temperature in much quicker time. And once that set temperature is reached, it will not cut off immediately. What it will do is it will reduce the cooling so as to maintain the temperature at the same level. So it will not allow the temperature to fluctuate up and down, but rather it will maintain the temperature within a range of 0.5 degrees up and down. Whereas a normal air conditioner, there's a fluctuation of 1.5 degrees here and here and up and down, up and down. An inverter will have it at a steady state. So that is done by varying the speed of the compressor. So once the compressor speed is varied, you slow down the speed of the compressor, the cooling amount also reduces. So when the main part of the component of the air conditioner which consumes electricity is the compressor. So the moment you reduce the speed of the compressor, automatically the power consumption reduces. That is why we say that when we use inverter air conditioners, there is energy saving. So power saving, which directly translates into a reduced electricity bill as far as the customer is concerned. So this is what I already explained to you. The comparison of cooling speeds. The initial cooling is 1.5 times faster than a conventional air conditioner to reach the set temperature, and it reduces electricity consumption by varying the speed of the compressor. So in some cases, it is even as high as 50% the energy saving. And this is not something I'm just saying. If you actually have a normal air conditioner and an inverter air conditioner at home, if you run them for the same amount of time over a period of say a month or 2 months or 3 months, you can actually see the difference in your electricity bills. So there is direct benefit. And then coming to the outdoor unit, do not install the outdoor unit in a confined space. We all know that the heat from inside the room is thrown out through the outdoor unit. So if the heat from the outdoor unit is not able to dissipate, then automatically the cooling operation is inhibited. It affects the compressor. The compressor can get overheated. And then if it gets overheated, it will be overloaded. It can cut off. And in some extreme cases, even the compressor can get damaged. So there should always be enough space around the outdoor unit for air circulation, for the heat to dissipate. So if it is not possible, if there is a wall, then it is always advisable to use wall brackets to raise the level of the outdoor unit such that there is enough air circulation that can reach the outdoor unit. And another thing, when we install multiple outdoor units, do not place them close to each other like it is shown here. What this does is, the hot air that is dissipated from one outdoor unit will directly go into the next indoor unit, and that will go into the next indoor unit. This will completely affect cooling performance. We don't want this to happen. So if in case we need to install multiple outdoor units, there is an example where you can place them in L shape, perpendicular to each other. So in that case, this will not happen if it is a closed space. If there is enough space for the outdoor units to be placed, then they can be spaced a little farther apart so that the air from one outdoor unit is not taken into the other outdoor unit. So if they are placed at right angles, it is better.
Thank you, Arush, and thank you, Satish, for that learning on how the inverter air conditioner saves electricity and so many other things. Students, I just have a couple of things to mention before we see the next highlight. One is, during the festival, we would like to bring you many more categories which you would like to learn about. How about giving us feedback? I think there has been a poll, and some of you, quite a few of you, have already indicated, and I believe the production crew told me architectural hardware got as much as 48% of the poll votes saying we'd like to know more about architectural hardware. Fantastic. So we will tell our marketing team, go find out some reputed manufacturers and ask them to come onto the show. So similarly, if there are categories which you believe you don't know enough about and you'd like to know more, for example, LED and lighting, architectural lighting, landscape lighting, and so on and so forth, go ahead, tell us, and we will put that information to use. Now, here's a on-the-fly announcement. This is a Omnibus show. You already have seen this, so there was no point in asking you a quiz because the quizzes are already done. The prizes have been awarded. So we said, let's give the value of knowledge. But we're seeing the sheer love that you have shown on the show through the comments, the kind of engagement you're doing. I've heard some comments coming my way too, and it really makes us very, very pleased. Let me tell you that. Me and my entire team, who without whom I would not be here. So what are we going to do? We did not intend this, but we are announcing 4 best engagers. Yes, our most favorite one. Let's forget the quiz because this is knowledge that you've already been shared before and you've been quizzed on before. But engagement, you're live, you're hitting it, you're doing it out of your own love and because you want to. So let's look at rewarding the 4 best engagers. Right, with that, Arush, I think it's time for us to go on next, and we can take a look at Tata Pravesh. Yes, key highlights from takeaways from Tata Pravesh's presentation. And for that, we welcome M. Bhargav.
So let me begin with a small observation. This is a story which my professors in the college used to say this. There's been a lot of travelers, mostly poets and writers who used to go from country to country in the old age times, right? So what they do is to go is they go to a new country and they jot down their observations, they define or they try to express the idea of that particular country. So one of the bigger chunk of their idea is the infrastructure of that country, right? So they define the monuments, they define the infrastructure of the country, they define the architecture of that country, and they showcase it as if it is what a representation of that country's development is, So you think about all these established empires like Greek or the Roman empires. When you think about them, you think about pantheons or the colosseums, right? So when you speak about the great Indian times, you'd like to think about Taj Mahal or any other great monuments. So all this, why I'm telling all this is because an infrastructure of a country, it's like a mirror for that country's development. So if a country is a developed economy, if it's a country is at a country's people are at a much evolved state, so that automatically gets reflected in the infrastructure or the architecture of that country. So that's where I think the prominent architects and the engineers come into play. So today's infrastructure in India, it's much more evolved. So based on what we have studied, the architecture, both in terms of innovation of the designs, both the innovation of the process, has gone miles ahead in the last 1 decade. So that's one brilliant move that is done by the architect community, who are playing a very critical role in building the modern and futuristic India's infrastructure. And it is all being done by the new age architect community, who are playing a very critical role in building a modern and futuristic infrastructure of India. So in order for something to materialize, someone has to dream. That dream and that mindset and that thinking is being done by the architect community, which is a very great thing. And you're all going to be part of the community very soon and be driving, be walking in the same footsteps and be taking the infrastructure of the country miles ahead. What is the future? This is the constant question that we keep asking ourselves. What is the future of steel in India? Which products they accommodate steel better? How can we better the innovation in the construction sector? So that's the question that we always ask ourselves. So that's when we were asking about this question, we stumbled upon one of a brilliant study that we have that we could learn quite a lot from. So we sought doors in particular across all the countries. Yeah. So what type of doors are used? What type of what is the technology behind the doors? How the doors are different from one country to other country? Because we study different building elements. So we study a wall, we study a door, we study a window, we study a roof. So one of the construction elements that we have studied is doors. So one quick observation is that if you see in the table that is shown here, you see in US the metal door usage is almost 38%. The wooden door usage is 37%. The other doors like UPVC or any other material is around 25%. If you see China is the world leader in steel production. So the metal door usage is almost 49%. All right, so wooden door is 23 and the others are 28. Whereas if you see in India, which is the metal door usage is only 15% and the wooden door usage is almost 82%. The others are around 3%. So if you see, there is quite a contrast between this data. Why is it 82 in India and why is it only 37 in US, or why is it only 23 in China? So one easy answer is that these are developed countries, US and China, so they are using more advanced products, and India is not so. But when you think more deeply, US and China are. Let us talk more in specific with US, because China seems to be an aberration because of their steel production. US is much more environmentally conscious than India, right? So they use more sustainable products like steel, aluminium, which can be recycled into their building materials, unlike the developing nations like India. But mind you, my friends, India is going to be there in the next 5-10 years in the league of US. So the adoption of this type of sustainable materials, and considering the stringent laws that are coming up in India as well, and the environmental norms that the all across the countries that's going on, so India will be there. So we thought, there is some innovation that is needed in order to shift the usage of wooden doors, which is not so environmentally friendly, and also, as we see forward, which is not a very superior offering. There can be much more innovation be done in the doors sector. So we thought of that. That's why we are entering into that. That's where Tata Pravesh is coming into the play. So we are on a mission to transform at least one step at a time. That is the doors. One of the critical products which is used in a home construction. From that, the perspective of a developed country. So we have seen that almost 82% of the doors in India are used from wood, many of which is not from a sustainable material, right? So we are in the mission of changing that. But when we are thinking about this, it's a culture thing, right? No one wants a steel door to be put in their homes. We are all used to this grandeur of wood. There is no doubt that wood is a very, very good material. It looks good and also it feels good, right? So we thought of how can we change the behavior. That's where I think we introduced Tata Pravesh. These are doors made from steel, but with the elegance of wood. So when you see this door, you will not see it as a steel door. You will see it as a wooden door. When you try to tap it, it sounds like a wooden door. When you try to feel it, the texture also, feels like a wooden door. So you have all the features of a wooden door, but it is made of steel. So that means it's a highly sustainable product with all the pluses of a wooden door and all the pluses of a steel material. So you have sustainability, you have higher strength, you have a door which is termite free, you have a good fire resistance, and of course Tata Pravesh is not launching it as a, we have not launched it as a simple door. We are doing a door delivery, installation, and all the service support that is required. So that is the offering that we are into. So we are offering a wide range of solutions, wood finish doors, and of course there are a lot of other doors which are mandatory, like you need fire resistance door for fire exits. You need certain commercial doors like lower doors and vision panel doors. If you see in any offices or even in your college campus, you might have seen such doors. So of course, you cannot just have a door as an offering. There are certain allied products like windows, which are very similar to the door offering. That means the consumer buys them together. So we are also offering both canvas and oyster windows. Basically, these are aluminum windows and the steel windows. So basically, we are offering an innovative product which fits in the requirement of an individual home builder and which is highly sustainable. So quickly going through that. So it's not a solid steel door, right? It is 2 sheets of steel with a honeycomb paper, which is there in between the door. So the door doesn't weigh like 200-300 kg. It weighs a bare minimum of 40 kg, right? So although it sounds like a steel door, you might be thinking that it's quite heavy, nothing. So it's very easy to install, and it conforms to all the norms that are required for a good door. And of course, as you can see that it has a very strong load bearing strength also. Almost an elephant also can be sustained on the door. That's the type of comparison that we do normally. So you have all these benefits. You have the consumers who are buying our Pravesh doors as a high security, convenience, very good aesthetics, looks fantastic. The door looks great. Termite resistance, you don't have to worry about termite, which is common problem of a wooden door. And fire resistance is there, almost 120 minutes fire resistance, fire rating is there. It's highly durable, low maintenance. Once the door is installed, you don't have to worry about it. And most importantly, it is environmentally friendly.
All good things about steel coming to an architectural product like steel doors, and that cat really looks pretty. Even the cat's wondering like what's coming up next. What's coming up next is firstly a very important gratitude and thanks that we need to pass on to all our brand partners, and they are Dr. Fixit, Fenesta, General Air Conditioners, Kytek, Legrand, and Tata Pravesh for the midpoint in the festival, for having brought finished learning to students and having participated wholeheartedly. And of course, our presenting sponsors, which is LIC, with their strong support, we are able to bring this festival to you students. So all the videos, by the way, the entire show videos, and including this episode, are available, as you know, on the How To group, to which you are exclusively subscribed. And going forward, that's where we are going to keep sending you more and more updates and information. So the links are there, they're all stacked together. But you can also, for those who are not part of the group, tell them that they can look at this on YouTube. And the links will be pinned by my team on the chat box for the YouTube videos. So all you need to do is copy that and share it through your WhatsApp group so that more of your friends and colleagues can benefit, even if they were not able to be on the show because they're not part of the top 20 colleges or they could not make it for whatever reason. All right, with that, Arush, let's take a look at Legrand and the world of IoT. And for that, we will be having the brand champions, Saumi Srivastav and Samir Burande, and you'll remember them from the last week. So without any further ado, on with the presentation.
So moving on to the topic of presentation with respect to IoT part. So you can see the picture of Mr. Mark Benoit, who is the CEO of the Salesforce. So what he has to say about Internet of Things. So for him, the Internet of Things is ground zero for a new phase of global transformation, which is powered by technology innovation, generating significant economic opportunity, as well as reshaping different industry and homes where you are currently staying. So when we're talking about IoT, so IoT is, a combination of different products, different industry and different verticals. So in today's topic, we will be focusing on to what is IoT as a product. So when we want to understand IoT as a product, we have to understand the different layers of stack which contributes to IoT as a product. So we're looking at the 5-layer stack of IoT. The first one, which is a device, that is device hardware. Device hardware consists of sensors. So there are different sensors in the hardware part. There are different computing power, and of course there is an internal storage unit. The second layer of the stack is device software. So device software, of course, which is something which is running inside device hardware, which is required to perform certain necessary calculation or to determine different object and the task which has been given to the device hardware. Now look at the combination of both of them, say combining device hardware as well as device software, we bring out the smart device or edge device. So together we call them smart device and edge device or connected devices. In moving forward in the presentation part, we will hear about a lot of connected devices as a word. So when I'm talking about connected devices, it is of course it's a device hardware plus the device software. Just a simple example for a connected device or a smart device or edge device is, imagine Amazon Alexa. So Amazon Alexa is a connected devices. Why? It is connected to the internet, and you given a task to it, say for example, turn on AC, it will automatically turn on the AC, okay, without reaching out to the switchboard. So that is what the connected devices we are talking about. Moving on to the next layer of a stack is the communication. So there should be a communication between cloud and your edge device or the connected devices. So communication, so in sending certain information, required information from your connected devices to cloud via certain communication protocol. That is what the communication that happens under the IoT product. Then the fourth layer of a stack is the cloud. Cloud is where there are different data centers where you store the different information of users and their devices. And of course, it is used for the generating or perform different analytics and generating different API. Last but not the least is cloud application. It is the application, or I can say an app, where user going to interact with the product. Say for example, in coming slides we'll be talking about Home Plus Control. So Home Plus Control is a Lagrange app from where you can control different appliances, can control your lights, you can control your fines. So those are the cloud application, which is very, very important in the among the 5-layer stack. So combining all this is consists of a IoT as a product.
Iot is the connected object program launched by Legro in 2015 to accelerate the deployment of its Internet of Things offering. So when we talk Iot, what is the full form of Iot? It is EL, which stands for electricity, and IoT is the Internet of Things. Thanks to Iot, millions of Legro users, whether private or professional, today experience connected life on a daily basis. Using voice to turn lights on or off is becoming a standard. Remote control of building security, lighting is also gradually becoming the norm. Driven by Iot, new connected solutions are created every day. At the same time, the interoperability dynamic makes it possible to imagine new services and functions on a daily basis. Now deployed worldwide, Iot is improving the experience of Legro user on a lasting basis. Now, what are the two pillars of this Iot program? The first pillar is the development of connected solution, and the second is promoting interoperability. So with all this Iot program, Legro is developing a multiple of connected solutions that increases user for the values. Thus involves both connecting existing products and developing new natively connected solution, that is to say, designed to be able to communicate as well as both residential and tertiary sectors. So this Iot program, when we talk about, it is mainly developed on the basis of 4 parameters. So the first parameter is obviously convenience, second is the safety, third is the assisted living, and the fourth is the energy management. We have kept all these 4 parameters in our mind in Legro to design this program.
So moving on to the next part, the installation that we're talking about. Soumi has mentioned the installation part in the previous slide. So the overall product is basically very easy to install, and there are no superpowers which are required to install this IoT-based products. So it is an accessible solution for a new and existing or refurbished house. By this, it's an easy upgrade of existing installation into the connected installation. And connected means you can update with respect to connected products, edge product, and smart products. Again, why we are saying no superpower required, because when you're installing this product, you don't have to change any electrical wiring, you don't have to change any products. It just uses your traditional electrical infrastructure. And very importantly, because of all above points, it cuts your installation efforts to a minimum level.
Interoperability, as I mentioned before also, is one of the pillars for Iot program. So when we talk about interoperability, it is the ability of a product or service to work with other existing or future products or services without restrictions on the access or implementation. Because this is an essential condition for the development of the connected object, Legro is increasing its efforts to define standard in this area. For example, when we talk about the security of any product, security is the DNA of Legro connected offers, and we use Microsoft Azure to store all the data. Now we define all this in terms of interoperability and etc. etc. Okay, but when we discuss about a smart home, let's simplify it. If I say that I have got a smart home, it sounds like the future. It sounds like I have money to spend and luxury to afford. It sounds like freedom. And that's the hook, isn't it? Freedom is comfort, convenience, automation. Turn your lights off from your bed, control your TV from your voice, lock your door from million miles away. That gives our life very much exciting. It makes our life exciting. But as I said, and also Samir mentioned earlier, it is not only about luxury, comfort, convenience. Automation is more about that. When we talk about IoT, it is more about that. So to discuss on interoperability, it means it can be integrated with various third-party solutions and IoT platform. It is interoperable, that means it works with all the voice assistant devices like Google Assistant, Apple HomeKit, and Alexa. It is also interoperable with Ifttt. What is the full form of Ifttt? It is if, this, then, and that. So this is an app through you can download anytime from your app store. You can see there are a lot of companies who are proactive in this IFTTT. For example, there is I would say there are cameras from the Nexus. There are a lot of companies like Samsung, LG. They're all in this IFTTT, involved with IFTTT, and within this forum we are being able to control, come into a single platform, we can operate and integrate with each other.
Thank you, Saumi and Samir. Yes, I think it generated a lot of interest. And Bharat and all my lovely student friends, I've been live on the show, but I've also been fed a lot of interesting things. For your information, Bharat, 1,020 comments. That's what has happened. 450 was way, way, way before. It's moved up all the way to 1,020. And I love the fact that we went beyond 1,000. And that's all thanks to you all, because you feeling like talking to each other, you feel like talking to us. I think it's time to say thank you to a whole lot of people who have supported us in the show. And as I'm coming to the end of the show, I'd first like to thank our principals and HODs of each of the participating 20 colleges. We've already featured 14 of them, and we look forward to showing you glimpses and highlights of the other 6. And those students who are from those 6, we want to see you say rah, rah, rah when you see your college. We want to say thank you to our class representatives who are our ambassadors of the How to Festival 2.0. You've done a wonderful job in fairly mitigating circumstances, like you're not even able to talk to your colleagues, you're only able to send them WhatsApps. But whatever has happened, good things have happened on the How to Festival 2.0 is thanks in part to your effort. So our principals, HODs and everybody. And finally, next week coming up is an exciting session with Asian Paints. And Asian Paints are going to be presenting in a new avatar. That much and no more, because bhanda nahi phutna chahiye. You'll get to know if you're on the show. We will be informing you in advance. So before I sign off, Arush, you can go off sharing now. And as I was saying, we are very pleased to have each and every one of you. And we would like to wish all our lady colleagues on the How to Festival team, on the production team, all the lady festivals, the lady colleagues, and all the lady students who've been tuning on to the show, a very happy Women's Day coming up on 8th March. And we hope that more power to your elbow is what that means. Fine, with that, let's call it a close. We hope you enjoyed this recap, the takeaways, the Omnibus show, call it what you will. And if you liked it, please do comment now and tell me that you liked it. So we'd like to do more innovations for you in the future. Till then, signing off from the How to Festival, brought to you by LOCATOR, in our silver jubilee year, Ramesh Iyengar, one last time today. Bye-bye.